Hello and welcome back to StarMade. As you can see, we have cut away a little bit of the hillside here from last episode as we prepare to expand our base. Currently, all we have is this little power reactor with some power storage units and a very small ship kind of landing pad. And what I want to do is try to up our production. So now that we have the power sorted out, we can actually start worrying about producing things at a quicker rate and to fulfill our building needs here in survival mode. So what I want to do is first off explain to you how the factories and things kind of work in StarMade a little bit. I am by no means great at building factories in this game. And in fact, most people will probably be able to do better than I. However, I want to go ahead and explain how to at least hook up a basic routine here. So what we have... Oop, I accidentally destroyed something that I wasn't supposed to. There we go. And... 5. Okay. All right, ignore all that for just a second. We'll get there here in a moment. So what we have here is a basic kind of chain of factories to produce a variety of materials, namely gray hull in this case, just because it's a simple kind of exercise to see what you can make. And it reads from the left to the right. We have a storage unit, which is going to be holding our crafting materials, and then a basic factory to make gray standard hull here, and then it splits into 2 more factories, which takes those hull fragments and changes them into the different shapes from there. And finally, they will come over and fill up this storage unit after it's all said and done. So it's a simple kind of one to one item to 2 items to storage. It's a very straightforward kind of logic gate system in StarMade, and it's relatively easy to follow along. So if I drop our crafting materials into here, let's just do, what, 600, because we're going to need a lot of a hull eventually anyways. And you can do this for any assortment of material here. There we go. So what's going to happen is this will slowly be eaten up automatically as this factory takes over. And this factory here is the source, kind of the main. You press C and it's going to start using that as the main component and V on other components to hook that up. So as you can see, this factory is hooked up to these factory enhancers so that it starts producing more than just 1 at a time. In fact, I think it's producing about 5 at a time. And it's pulling automatically from here because it is hooked up to the storage block as well. And what this is set up to do is obviously just produce 5 gray hull, click, click, click over and over and over. And then we select these factories, which are hooked up using V on the previous chain, and that is pulling these standard gray hull elements into here and crafting a hull wedge. And then this one's doing the same, but a corner piece. And you'll notice that these are going to produce 2 every time it crafts. This, of course, producing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, will mean that for every tick of a factory, we're going to get 2 specialized hull pieces and 3 standard pieces here, I believe, if my math is correct. Let's see. Or maybe we'll get 2, 2, 2. Anyways, after that, everything will come over and you can hook up the storage units just like the factories. So this being the main, it will then try to automatically pull any item. You can filter this out. You can basically do sorting by doing this function as well, and you can actually sort out inventories and get a really neat system in the long run. And at the moment, I just have this set to everything, just because this little segment's only producing hull anyways. And at that point, that's generally a basic factory. You can set it up to where you automatically drop materials into here. It gets sorted and then goes to each individual factory to then be refined into whatever you want to produce. That is the base concept of manufacturing in StarMade in bulk and efficiency. Now, again, I'm sure there's other and better ways to do what I just explained in more advanced ways. I just don't know them. This is pretty much as far as I got, and hopefully you guys at least learn something if you're new. If you're not new and you already know this, well, kudos to you. You have listened through 5 minutes of a person poorly explain this. All right, what we're going to be doing is expanding the base, of course. And what I want to do is actually expand it, and we're going to dig down. I feel like we need more layers onto the base, more height variations. And the best thing to do for that is let's dig down 15 blocks or so, and then 21 by 42. So this is going to give us a perfect rectangle, right? In the meantime, I can just remove all these. I don't really need them anymore. They were just for show and tell. And so we'll activate remove mode. Very simple. And dig a nice big ditch here. Just like that. And you can see we do have some extra room. I carved out some of this mountain just to get stone. We might end up using some of this space. We might not be using some of this space. It's kind of up in the air still. But I did just leave it hollow for the long run, so we can put more of our base inside and underground if that's something we want to do. I will also go in, just fill in some of these gaps real quick. I don't know why, but I'm a little anal about these type of things with little holes everywhere. It kind of bugs me. And different terrain types, you can see how the planets are kind of generated layer by layer. That's why there's that layer of dirt in there. So let us choose what colors this is going to be. So this is going to be like a foundry almost look, I think, by the time we're done with it. It's going to kind of hook up and connect to that, and then maybe another piece that's going to be over here. And it's a very basic shape, so what I want to end up doing is just adding an additional layer. So let's keep this at 15. And adjust this down to about 5 by 20. We'll cancel remove mode. And at this point, there we go. Now we're going to have an interesting shape. It's not going to be just a perfect box. We're going to have this slight angle into it, and I think that'll be good. So if we go over here to our storage chest, I believe I should have some hull pieces made already. And we don't have much, if any. We have more orange hull pieces. We might have to make a trip over to... Yeah, we're going to have to make a trip over to the shop, I think. Because I want to just use gray standard hull here. I think that would work for the best. And if I were to... I had to bring that down, but I need to make it thinner so we can place the base walls here. It's always a little confusing as to which segment controls which half the time in this game. And it can also be a little weird to build things. So there we go. We've already instantly used up all of our gray hull. Just like that. Very just boom, one and done. We'll hop out of the build block. Head over to our little vessel here. It has taken a little bit of damage. I had to defend ourselves slightly from some smaller pirates. Nothing major though. In fact, a pirate even showed up in this craft itself, which was pretty interesting to see how well it could even fight itself. It's not very great of a fighter. I'll be honest. It is definitely best suited as like a very light drone. Using it for any, large scale siege or battle, I don't think it would last 2 seconds. So that's something to keep in mind for when we build our new ships and things. They need to be really combat ready. But this we can just use as a shuttle for now. If I go to the shop, we can find gray hull. We're just pretty much gonna buy as much as we can. We have basically no money left, by the way. It might become one of those situations where a salvaging ship may become a little bit more important than expanding the base, just so I can salvage what we need. So there's the wedge, and yeah, that'll be it. So quickly just turn around here, go back to our wonderful planet. I'm really happy that we are very close to a shop. Another cool feature, they did update StarMade recently, and if you haven't been to a sector, you can see it's unexplored. It doesn't tell us anything about it. It doesn't say if there's planets, doesn't say if there's shops or anything like that. So you have to actually start scanning sectors to reveal their contents, which is pretty cool. And it also will help probably in multiplayer in terms of, people might be able to stay hidden a little bit longer than normal. Now, if you have a home base, you're going to show up on the map anyways, I believe. I'm not too sure how that works since I am playing single player. So let us come up here and dock. Nice and smooth. And head back into our build block. Great. There we go. So now I can go ahead, build up our walls. Very straightforward stuff. You can really see just how much material cost this is. And we're already out. Wow. That is very, very poor. Tell you what we'll do is come down here to the basic factory. We will change production to gray hull. Got it. For the 5,000 and 5,000. Now this, we don't have to do a factory change for this just because of how efficiently this thing is going to work. But I do want to add a whole bunch of enhancers just real quick. This is of course going to drain more power, but we definitely have enough to take it. And each pop will give us about 50 or so. So I'm going to let that go for a little while, and we'll come back once we have some more building materials. Okay, so we are back. I went ahead and sold a whole bunch of stuff from before, and we're going to be basically laying out a little bit of a surface break here, and this is a catwalk kind of section that's going to just wrap around this side, this whole right side initially, and from there what we'll be able to do is define different shapes within this box itself, because obviously it'll be boring otherwise. It's not really my goal to have the most boring thing in the world as our factory. And hopefully bringing in different colors and other objects will break that up nicely. So let us find a decent block here to make, here we go, metal mesh. Make that catwalk. I can just swap out the rock for now. I don't really know how this is going to look on the long term, but for now it'll do. It'll do just fine. And I hope we have enough materials to actually get this thing to go all the way around without having to go get more. Okay, and this many. There we go. For the corners are going to be a little tricky just because of this armor block here. And you'll see that in theory you could just go on the back side. Fill this in with gray. And really you're not going to notice it much. Like so. You might get a bit of a lighting thing going on though. And we need some wedge ourselves here to actually get this corner nice and rounded out. Same with that one. And probably the best thing to do is to get these supports correct, and we'll even add some of our own touches, you could say, on certain sections. Like we can bring these supports up and kind of over these elements. Maybe not that corner, because that would become quite a problem child for us, I think. We'll just do it like so. And you know, it just has to be narrow enough for your character to walk on. Again, this is more of a utilitarian kind of element here. Some duct work would be okay as well, I think, eventually. But first things first, let's decide on a base detail here that's going to just go around the whole upper area. And let's do something very similar to just a cross kind of pattern of elements. Like these are just load-bearing joints. In fact, I think I can do this better. For example, we can just go too wide and come on, get the angle that I want. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can put struts pretty much anywhere you want that you might want to try to reinforce at a later date. For example, maybe the edge of this needs reinforced on the long term. We can even increase this so it's a little bit faster. Just delete the access. It's not really needed. And if we go, what? This will be the back. 1, 2, 3, boom, and boom. We can then do something like that. Go too tall. And we'll have to probably copy and paste a section. That might be faster. You know, it might make more sense also to just kind of walk this up and down in more of just a zigzag like pattern here. If I can get the spacing right, this is kind of not turning out great. Come on. Okay, that'll work. So I just need to copy that V shape around. So it's a two tall, 1, 2, 3, 4 wide. If I could choose the right direction, that'd probably be beneficial. And then copy an area here like that. Paste. Boom and boom. And then we can use that as the kind of template around the edge here. Pretty much all the way. You can even possibly add some more vertical elements like every now and then. Like for example, we could probably turn these into a different shape. I don't like how that's coming to a perfect point. I think this half like little arch looks a little bit better, and then that also gives us the freedom to bring this down or to reinforce it with something else. Like we can do stuff like this. In fact, maybe the upper part of the beam is part of a railing section. And it's just all about adding little bits of details around. I kind of want a 3 wide path here. Just to make it look clean. And then these elements we can try to use more wedges to just make this wrap around a little bit better. Okay. And I guess do the same here. There we go. And then this is just going to be a beam pretty much only above the catwalk section. And then on the other wall, we can just make that look a little different as well. And this is going to be a very asymmetrical building, so it's actually going to take a lot more time, just simply because we can't use any of the lines here to our advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and skip at this point because I've already kind of established the looks that we're going for. We'll come back after it's all built and you guys can kind of tell me what you think of the finished product. Okay, so currently this is where I am at with building our factory. You'll notice that the detailing is much improved from where we left off. Obviously, just having the walls and a little bit of the supports is not representative of the final product. So if you guys are curious how this is made, I can start doing speed build sections, though. You know, I just don't want the series to be jarring. I would much rather just be clean and jump right to it. Doing this detail work just takes time. It's not necessarily hard, I would say. It's just about more so taking the time to go in and just lay out all these blocks. So don't get too discouraged if you guys are maybe, you know, don't think you're quite as well versed as, say, I or other builders of this genre. Like, even I don't feel comfortable doing sci-fi very much. In fact, I looked at a lot of different drawings just to basically, I mean, this shape alone I saw in a concept piece. So it's not even 100% mine. I can't even claim that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. So, you know, I can't stress enough, if you guys are uncomfortable making up something or go and winging it, you know, I can't stress enough just searching up some source images. So it's not 100% done. I kind of running low on blocks at this point, and I'm gonna have to go farm for either money or blocks itself. But we are pretty much moved out of the valley now. The only thing over here is the remnants of our original factories, which I'll be deleting here soon enough. Let me hit lighten mode, so we might lose all the fine details because of the shadows, but you can see what we're going for. This upper catwalk area, that's going to be accessing the point probably beneath the power plant there, and we might end up putting more power modules there, and that's more of like a service pathway, and we'll probably exit out there, and it's just for an extra piece of layering. The other walls are relatively straight and plain, which is perfectly fine. Doing some vertical elements here. These are raceway gates, which I thought looked pretty cool, pretty high-tech kind of support columns that we could use. And the green on these match the green hazard armor, so that's what I was going for on that. Down here, I'm going to be making shelving units, and the shelving units will house all of our cargo capacity here. And right now, currently, each cargo kind of is just marked with these yellow hazard grid lines, and it's all synced up to this one current block. We are only using 20% of the total cargo, and as this thing gets taller, you know, this side is going to be a little bit shorter because of the catwalk, so this might get 3 tall and 2 tall, but I'm kind of liking that just due to height dynamics. This up here is just supposed to look kind of like a rail that maybe some machinery can attach to. I'm going to add another element going this way, so it looks like I can access both platforms here, because currently it looks like it can only access the one. This whole right side here, this is going to be the main factory area, so this is where all of our factory blocks are going to go. The storage shelves themselves, this is kind of the bulk storage area. Everything right now is getting thrown in here, and then as we expand the base, we'll start sorting it out, and only like unrefined things or items waiting to be processed or being pulled into here for the factory will then be used. And then we'll make some attachments onto here for the proper storage of, say, the hull pieces, or say, you know, the weapon systems. Things that might need to be covered up and protected a little bit easier than this open top kind of factory that we have going on here. Not to say, you know, the NPCs can hurt this, but you can't really do this, say, if you're on a multiplayer server trying to take over a zone, because it's not your home world. You know, this is vulnerable. It's not, you know, perfectly safe. You might be able to do a glass dome over it if you want to have some extra protection, but penetration, you know, shots are going to be a problem if you worry about that too much. The lighting, we got some blue effects from kind of this force field railing up there, mixed in with the orange, and also some blue lighting here by the cargo. Eventually, this will be a doorway, kind of to another lower section, and then this will kind of wrap around, and there'll be a large doorway here that'll probably open up on rails. Trying to eventually incorporate rails into this will take some time, as, you know, again, I'm pretty rusty on that kind of stuff. So currently, this is where we are. I'm liking the black and orange, and as we transition from the power station, we'll start mixing in more colors and different elements, and hopefully add more layers. I want another above ground structure here, just so we can get another height change and things like that. This build is going to take quite a while, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy the series as we move through, start working on larger ships, assaulting pirates, and just working here in survival, and hopefully inspiring other people to pick up the game and have some fun themselves. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you all enjoyed today's episode, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more daily goodness. Go ahead and hit that like button so I know you guys like StarMade and all that we are doing so far. And watch my other videos as always. I will see you all in the next episode.